Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And once again, Humza Yousaf has shown that he has got absolutely zero political nous. He's wading in on a subject that rather than commenting on, he should be avoiding like the plague, running away, putting as much distance between himself and his subject as is physically possible. We are talking here about illicit substances and personal use. The plan is that he wants to decriminalise possession if it's just for personal use, and not to criminalise people just for being users. Now, there may be arguments pro and for, pro and anti, 2 and 4. That's not the argument I've got here. And we will look at it. We'll look at the argument, and I do have I'll express an opinion on it. But the main thing I'm getting here, the main take I want, is that why would Humza Yousaf be wading in on this subject, given his brother-in-law is a convicted dealer who may well be prosecuted for something far more serious involving throwing people out of windows? You'd think rather than highlighting this, you'd want to move away from it and not have that family connection to the trade. He doesn't see it, does he? Bless him, he's not very bright. Let's have a look. So Humza Yousaf repeats call for personal material use to be decriminalised in Scotland. They don't like the use of certain words too early in a video, so bear with me. Now, I will say that there were two thoughts went through my head on this. Number one, perhaps by decriminalising it, you'll free up police who aren't then going to be filling in paperwork and doing little minor arrests for a gram of Colombian marching powder or someone sitting there with a Henry of grass. I know the terms. Anyway, maybe he's freeing up the police for that, so that they can spend more time dealing with the millions of hate crime reports he's going to get on Monday the 1st of April. Possibly. Or, and somewhat more cynically, but I don't know if it's inaccurately, perhaps he just wants to increase the trade. After all, it appears that he's got this family connection, and we don't know if he is in some way connected to it. He may or may not be. It is a question. Is Humza Yousaf connected to the dealings with his brother-in-law? Is Humza Yousaf benefiting from said profitability? Does he have a little sideline? Does he wander around, Holyrood, dishing out, bit of wake-up dust? Sitting there on an all-night sitting? I mean, he obviously likes a bit of company. How do you maintain that level of energy needed to, I don't know, for example, possibly father 2 children? You need something to keep you going, don't you? And it's not as though you got this book, got a script, haven't I? It shows the ideas where they're coming from, though, doesn't it? I'm not saying he is, of course. It'd be wrong for me to say that he's on this stuff all the time. Anyway, the Scottish Government is under pressure to get to grips with the country's ongoing drugs death crisis. We can say it now, we're well into it. Humza Yousaf has repeated his government's belief that they should all be decriminalised for personal use in Scotland. You see, again, it strikes me as being, it's a lost leader for him, isn't it? Let's get this in there. Yeah, make a bit more money, you know what I mean? Get out there. Sell. Sending the old corner boys out. Breaking their knuckles if they don't turn £500 a week. Anyway, the First Minister made the claim yesterday as he faced awkward questions from opposition parties over why the number of Scots dying from suspected overdoses rose by 10% last year. I suspect he needs to ask his brother-in-law. Maybe his brother-in-law is weak. See, when you're cutting this stuff, what are you cutting it with? Rat poison? Cut it with something else. Baby formula, for God's sake. Again, I don't know these things. This is just what I've been told by other people who are more expert in these things. The NP, when I was in the army, right, the tangent time, when I was in the army, and I was in the army such a long time ago, they used to still do it. They don't do it anymore, but they used to give us go faster marching dust. But it wasn't the Colombian variety. It was just plain forward amphetamines. We used to get little pill, off you go. And you go and exercise, you'd be on this stuff, and you'd be wired. But it had a terrible, terrible side effect. And if anyone knows, if you know, you know, right, about the side effect of taking amphetamine, if you're a gentleman. If you know, you know. And it's horrible. Anyway, thankfully it does come back. The SNP leader was asked by Anna Sarwar when the Scottish Government would finally get a grip on the crisis that sees more people die from drug overdoses in Scotland per head of population than any other European country. That said, they'd probably look around Scotland and think, oh God, I've got to get out of my head. And they can't afford alcohol, so go up to the corner boys and get a gram of whatever they're selling. It comes after figures out this week showed that there were 1,197 suspected deaths between January and December last year. The record has led the way in calling for the addictions to be treated as a health matter. It is. The addiction is. You treat the addicts as the victims here. Sure, they did it to themselves, but even so, it's the supplies you need to go after, of course. But if you legalise it, tax it. If you're going to go down the route of legalising it, tax it. Put it in. Sell it in chemists. You know the quality is going to be set. You know that the levels are going to be set. It's going to be safer. And you're removing all that crime out of the equation. You're making a fortune in tax. That's my view on it. I mean, Harrods, this is no lie. Harrods used to send a little box like that. It was called the Soldier's Chum. And you'd send it to the front. And it would go off. You'd go, oh, I'd like to send a Soldier's Chum to, you know, Lance Corporal Smith or whatever, 4th Queen's Fusiliers. Off it would go. And inside you'd get it, little wicker basket, open it up, and there'd be Colombian. There'd be a little injector with a bit of horse in it. So, you know, there'd be puff powder, sort of puff grass, all sorts of things, herbs, you know. They didn't have LSD back then, but if it was available, they would. They used to put all their laudanum, all sorts of things. It's a little bit of paradise in a little wicker basket. Soldier's Chum. Harrods sold that legally. Made a fortune. Quite right too. We went to war with China. China wanted to stop selling Queen Victoria opium. We said we're not having that. Queen needs her opium. We actually went to war with China to make sure China continued selling opium. Oh, they were the good old days, weren't they? Anyway, speaking of First Minister's questions, Yousaf gave an absolute guarantee that his government would try innovative approaches wherever possible. Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to stop. Basically, I'm not here to say whether we should or shouldn't legalise drugs. That's not what the argument is here. The argument is the man shouldn't be talking about it given his family connections. And it's just highlighting how dim he is that he doesn't realise that it isn't looking good. He doesn't realise the optics. Now, I do think they should all be legalised, but the supply controlled, sold through chemists, sold for a fixed price, sold for a fixed quantity, and above all, quality, with nothing dangerous and nasty in it. And by doing that, bang, you're taxing it, you're making your fortune. And the amount of saving to society by removing crime is immense. Definitely. That's my view. Anyway, he should walk away from this argument, though. Coming up. Now, I want you to let me know what your views on this are, because I know there's going to be people out there who say, oh no, drugs are terrible, and they are terrible. They are. I'm not saying they're good. But we allow alcohol and we allow tobacco. And tobacco is the most addictive product on the planet. The way it affects the neurons in the head. Tobacco is way more addictive than the likes of, H, for example. But if it's going to be something that exists anyway, which it does, would it not be better to legalise it, to control the quality of it, and to tax the hell out of it, and to take the advantage of having the reduced crime? Don't know. It's going to be there. Whatever happens, it's going to be there. So, you can make it illegal. It's still going to be used. So why not make it legal and get the benefit? Who knows? I'll let you decide. Let me know in the comments. I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye.